For centuries, the kingdom of Dagbon stood as a pillar of power and tradition in the heart of West Africa. Its roots stretched back to the great Gabewa, and from the majestic Gabewa Palace in Yendi, the Ya-Na, the king of Dagbon, ruled over a sophisticated and and from the majestic Gabewa Palace in Yendi, the Ya-Na, the king of Dagbon, ruled over a sophisticated and resilient society. By the final decade of the 19th century, the king on the lion skin was Ya-Na Andani II, known affectionately to his people as Andan Nanigu. His reign had been long and marked by legendary strength. In his youth, he was a warrior king who led his armies personally to secure the kingdom's borders. He turned back invading forces from the east and subdued the notorious slave raider Babatu. His reign had been long and marked by legendary strength. In his youth, he was a warrior king who led his armies personally to secure the kingdom's borders. He turned back invading forces from the east and subdued the notorious slave raider Babatu. He was the embodiment of Dagbon's sovereign power. But time is a relentless force. As the distant thunder of European colonialism rolled across the African continent, Ya-Na Andani was an old man, his vision clouded with age, facing a threat unlike any other. From the south came the Germans, methodical and ambitious. From the west, the British pressed inward, and from the north, the French expanded their reach. Dagbon was surrounded, a kingdom caught in the tightening grip of a scramble not of its making. Yet the spirit of resistance burned strong. The Ya-Na declared that his land, the legacy of his ancestors, would not be taken by the white man. He would protect it at all costs. For 7 years, Dagbon resisted the creeping shadow of colonialism. But in 1896, the threat became immediate, tangible. Rumors had long filtered north from the Atlantic coast, carried by traders and travelers. They spoke of strange men with skin like pale clay and weapons that roared like thunder. In the villages, people tried to make sense of these tales. Some said the white men had faces like monkeys with long noses. Others, hearing they came from across the sea, laughed and wondered if they were part human, part fish, speculating that they could be caught in fishing nets. These were not fears born of weakness, but of the unknown. The unknown soon revealed its face. In the last days of November 1896, the German Schutztruppe, their colonial military force, made a swift and brutal advance north from their coastal holdings. They overran settlements with disciplined efficiency. The key town of
Bumbla
fell. The Bimbilla Na dispatched a desperate messenger to Yendi. The white man was coming, and they were now at Pusuga, a mere 30 miles from the capital. The long-dreaded clash was no longer a rumor, it was at the kingdom's doorstep. Panic and resolve mixed in Yendi. The great war drum, the instrument that summoned the kingdom to arms, was beaten. Its deep, resonant pulse was a declaration of war, a call to every corner of Dagbon. Messengers from the palace sections ran to relay the order. All chiefs, all warriors were to rally to Yendi to defend the soul of the nation. But the German machine was too fast. The powerful paramount chiefs, the Na of Kumbungu, the Na of Savalugu, the Na of Karaga, with their vast regiments, were days away. They would never receive the message in time. Yendi would have to be defended by who was closest. From the eastern districts, the divisional chiefs answered the call. The chiefs of
Sang, Myang, Sunsong, Jumwang, Bungbalga
marched their men toward the capital. They were brave, they were determined, but they were a fragment of Dagbon's total might, assembled in desperate haste.
As the chiefs gathered in Yendi, the old and nearly blind Ya-Na, consulting tradition and oracles, counseled caution. Perhaps there was a path of negotiation. But one voice rose above all others, a voice of fiery, unshakable defiance. It belonged to the chief of Gbongbaliga, the kingdom's foremost warrior, Kanbon Nakpem Ziblim. He was a man who commanded awe. Immensely strong, a brilliant tactician, and an inspiration to his troops, he was affectionately
Kambon na kyom.
The chief warrior snake. The nickname was a badge of honor. To kill a mighty snake, he would boast, required the combined blows of many clubs. He promised his king, "I will apprehend any white man who steps foot in Dagbon." He rode a majestic white stallion, carried 2 guns and a sword, and a smock infused with sacred talismans and medicines, believed to render him invulnerable to bullets and blades. To the warriors, the Kanbonsi, who dressed in cloth and joked with their king as Mambia, Ziblim was a living legend. They told Yana Andani to wait. They would bring the white men to him as captives. By Wednesday, the 2nd of December, the German column, led by Lieutenant Valentin von Massow and under the direction of Commissioner Dr. Gruner, was at Laginya, just 15 miles from Yendi. Kanbon Nakpem Ziblim would wait no longer. That afternoon, he marched his assembled troops south to choose his ground. He found it at a village called Dagbon, on a hill overlooking the road to Yendi. Here, he would make his stand. All day Thursday, the 3rd of December, the Dagbon army waited and watched from the Adibo hill. The land was thick with tall, harvested grain. Scouts on horseback peered into the wooded valleys below, seeing nothing. The air was thick with anticipation. Historians estimate the force under Ziblim's command numbered around 2,500 men armed with muzzle loaders, 130 horsemen, and 2,000 archers, a formidable traditional army. Against them, the Germans fielded 368 soldiers and Askari paramilitary police. But every German was armed with a modern breech-loading rifle, firing multiple rounds a minute, incredibly accurate. This was the chasm between the two sides. Immense courage and numbers on one, industrialized firepower on the other. Friday, December the 4th, dawned. It was Ali Kufa Dali, a special Yendi market day when the town would be vibrant, and young women adorned themselves with beautiful kufi beads. Instead of celebration, there was the grim preparation for battle. Kanbon Nakpem Ziblim, astride his white horse, drew up his lines with the skill of a born commander. He placed himself at the center, leading the corps and the gunmen. On his right wing was the Chirifo, backed by the chiefs of Mion and San. On his left, he placed the Damankum, supported by the chiefs of Dimong, Kunkon, and Sunsong. In front of this main line, an elite screen of mounted spearmen and Konkamba archers, renowned for their skill, took their positions. They waited on the hill, a proud and defiant army silhouetted against the sun, blocking the path to their sacred capital. The music swells into a tense, dramatic crescendo, then drops into the stark sounds of battle. Distant gunfire, war cries, the nervous whinny of horses. The German column advanced into view. Lieutenant von Massow, seeing the strong defensive position on the hill, knew a direct assault would be costly. His tactic was to draw the Dagbon army out, to lure them into the open where his superior rifles could wreak maximum havoc. Before noon, he ordered his first volley. The crack of hundreds of modern rifles shattered the morning air. On the hill, Kanbon Nakpem Ziblim took it as his signal. He would not sit and be shot at. He gave the order to attack. With a mighty roar, the Dagbon line surged forward. The plan was to close the distance rapidly, to encircle the Germans and bring them into close combat where their guns would be less effective. It was a brave, aggressive tactic that had won Dagbon many battles in the past. But this was a different kind of war. As the warriors rushed down the slope, a second and a third volley tore into their ranks. The sound was continuous, a rolling thunder that never paused to reload. Confusion spread. Men were fighting long before they could get within range of their own muskets, which took a minute or more to load a single shot. The cry went up. What guns are these that do not stop firing? Ziblim, from his horse, saw the slaughter. He quickly changed tactics, ordering his men to break into smaller, faster groups, to charge in bursts to minimize the target. It required incredible bravery. Some warriors, fueled by sheer will, managed to get within 30 meters of the German line. The Kokomba archers let fly a hail of arrows. But for every German or Askari that fell, a dozen Dagbon fighters fell in return. The ground in Adibo began to soak with the blood of the kingdom's bravest. The battle reached its tragic, inevitable climax. Seeing his spirit falter and his men dying around him, Kanbon Nakpem Ziblim decided to fulfill his oath personally. He would capture a white man himself. Letting out a mighty cry, he spurred his white stallion into a final desperate charge. He rode straight for the German officers, a magnificent, terrifying figure. Reebok smiled, believing in his power. He closed the distance, a single warrior against a wall of gunfire. He was almost upon them when a German officer raised his pistol and fired at point-blank range. The chief warrior snake, Kanban Nakbem Wohu, fell from his horse. His fall broke the spirit of the army. The line collapsed. The order to retreat became a scramble for survival. The battle of Adibo was over. On that Friday market day, the field was left with the bodies of over 400 Dagbon fighters, including 40 esteemed war chiefs. It is said that to show their unwavering commitment, some of these chiefs had symbolically tied themselves to chairs on the hill, vowing to stand their ground to the death.